'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. There is not the reason why, there is but to do and die. My strength is as a strength of 10, because my heart is pure. If you recognize all three of these works, then you recognize the mind behind them. Lord Alfred Tennyson. Lord Alfred Tennyson was born on August 6, 1809, in Somersby, Lincolnshire. He had a huge family with 11 siblings. One of his brothers was an opium addict, another mentally unstable. The latter brother died from his condition in an asylum ward. The family's past was filled with mental health problems. Tennyson was afraid that he was next. He eventually checked himself into an asylum ward for a short period of time. When he was older, Tennyson went to Trinity College in Cambridge and became part of an intellectual group called the Cambridge Apostles. In this group, Tennyson met Arthur Hallam, whom he became close to intellectually and emotionally. Tragically, Hallam died after 4 years knowing Tennyson, randomly from a brain hemorrhage. Tennyson mourned heavily for his friend, writing his best work, In Memoriam, of Hallam's passing, and a few lesser-known works. He published several collections of poems over these years, 1832 Poems, Chief Lyrical, and 1842 Poems. The latter collection received more praise from his critics than the first. In 1850, Tennyson became the Poet Laureate of Britain, given the task of developing national culture through his poems. The position was profitable to Tennyson, as he was given a large government pension, and didn't have this type of money growing up. He married the love of his life, Emily Selwood, the same year, which was a huge task, since he had to break off an early engagement with her because he was not financially secure then. Gangster rapper Laffy Taffy has some input into his financial situation.
Yeah, Lord Alfie T, man, he was a cool dude. He, wrote things, he saw things, he did things, he wrote things, man, he just did things. He had a pretty cool fam. His family basically had a wealthy background, but they themselves didn't really have that wealth. It was kind of a weird situation. He was kind of like brought up in this like medium to low state, mellow state, He was just like, down there. But then it was crazy because his father ended up dying while he was in college, so he basically lost all his dough and had to drop out of college, except for the fact that somehow his father left him a little bit of money, and that little bit of money kind of, got lost as well, because Alfie was, a little cuckoo, and he invested his money in some, like, wood carving stuff. Because of that, he couldn't marry this, this chick named Selwood, Emily Selwood, basically because he didn't have enough money to, be financially secure. It was just some crazy stuff. He eventually got, like, the money when he became Poet Lordship of England. And, Queen Elizabeth was like, yeah, I like you, here's some dough. And a position. Yeah, with that money, he was able to finally marry the chick, Emily. And, yeah, he basically became Baron later, was filthy rich. So filthy, he was sad, man. Yeah, it was just like stuff like that.
Are you drunk?
No, man, I'm not drinking. This is water. What are you talking about? I'm just here trying to make a documentary that could be on TV. Maybe National Geographic, maybe? I mean, this is some high-quality stuff here. I mean, come on, man.
His Poet Laureate position achieved him popular praise during the period. Even Queen Elizabeth praised his work In Memoriam. Next to the Bible, In Memoriam is my comfort, noting how impacting his work was in the lives of the people. In Memoriam was one of the most popular pieces by Tennyson. It wasn't simply a poem, but a grieving over his closest friend, Hallam. British literature professor Kevin Chamanthai of Harvard will bring you into that.
In Memoriam. In Memoriam was a poem written by Lord Alfred Tennyson after the death of his close friend, Arthur Hallam, in 1830. The poem was published later, but basically what the poem was about was just the longingness and the mournful, the grief, all the dark, sad feelings he had for his very close friend, Hal. And it was a very long poem. It wasn't just a few simple lines like nowadays you'd see, but it was basically, or you could say it was a short story, if that story was the mourning of a friend. The question behind In Memoriam, as many scholars, as I myself am arguing, is whether or not Lord Alfred Tennyson was gay. Now, there are many signs that say he wasn't gay because he married, you know, a girl named Emily Selwood. But there is still this poem or short story, as you put it, In Memoriam. It describes how he longs and yearns for his close friend. I mean, it's a long, long poem that describes that yearning. At a point, it says, descend and enter. And then it's just the feelings, the vibes you get from the poem. It's just, yeah, it's really gay. It's really gay.
Toward the end of his life, Tennyson became a playwright, writing historical plays that went against the Shakespearean style of the time. His plays were not popular with the masses. Eventually, Tennyson was granted peerage and became a baron. This is when he started being referred to as Lord Alfred Tennyson. Toward the end of his life, Tennyson grew sadder, but was still prepared for the afterlife, where he would meet his pilot face to face, a reference from his poem, Crossing the Bar. Tennyson died on October 6, 1892.